Welcome back to the Jessica Camp podcast, or the Jessica and REECE show if you're watching on YouTube, or Jessica Camp. I don't know where I'm going to publish this. It's going everywhere.
We're going prestige worldwide.
I know a lot of you wanted to listen to the podcast, but we were like, no, I'm not putting it on YouTube.
Absolutely.
I apologize for that. But it takes a lot of editing, and I finally have help, so now we can do both.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna podcast on the YouTube, right?
Yeah. I am Joe Rogan.
Yes.
But I thought we would talk about parenting and colic and postpartum depression and basically the worst year of our life.
Oh wow! So this is not one of those fun videos. This is a when it got real video.
Just how bad did it get, REECE? Pretty
bad. For those of you that think this is just the on-camera persona, we're actually pretty much this happy. We get along pretty good. But it was not always so. There was darkness.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Pretty bad, yeah.
But now me and my dad get along great. He's not my dad, he's my boyfriend.
How do you want to start out? Where does this begin?
Well, when I found out I was pregnant, I cried for 3 days.
I still remember the day when I came home. And I think you sent me a text, and I was working at the time.
We need to talk.
Yeah, we need to talk, or I got to talk to you about something when you get home. And I don't know if you said, like, don't be mad or something. But I thought, okay. You know, I'm like, she couldn't have possibly broken anything in that horrible ratchet apartment.
We didn't own anything.
We didn't own anything. So I was like, well, I mean, this is probably something I can fix, you know. So I get home and I walk in that little awkward space that, that you walk in through the garage or whatever. And there was no table there, and you're standing there by the stove. And you look like you're about to tell me something. You don't look like you're happy about what you're going to tell me. And I just thought, I said, just say it. I mean, we can figure it out. And you said, I'm pregnant. And then it came. You seemed pretty distraught. I don't think I wasn't upset.
Yeah.
I was maybe a little.
You were like, okay.
Yeah. I was like, okay, we can do this. I mean, it wasn't on my to-do list, but yeah.
Here's the issue. This is why I was crying for 3 days. My first baby, that was a very traumatic event for me, and I was terrified.
Yeah.
I had gone through a lot. You know?
For those of you that don't know the story, there's a link or a click or she'll tell you about where to find that video, but it's a really popular video. So I'm sure that you were thinking coming into this thing, and well, I mean,
I was so scared.
We had just been together for what, maybe a little over a year.
No, it was 2 years.
2? Was it 2?
It was 2 years.
2 years. Okay, we've just been living together for maybe a year.
We dated for a year, then we moved in together, and then a year later I got pregnant with Riley, and I had just lost my job. Yeah,
you just lost your job. I'm trying to think, was I still at the place?
You're at the place you are now.
Yeah, was I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at the place where I was at now, but I had just changed job. I'd moved up a little bit. The job was better. We felt it was better opportunity, career pathways and things like that. So we that worked out well. But yeah, we've just been together for a couple of years, living together for a year. I mean, and we were still, life was still pretty basic back then. How long had I been sober? Maybe just a couple years.
So you had been sober 2.5 years at that point.
2.5.
We met when you were sober 6 months.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that I was like, I don't know if I can date this guy.
Yeah.
Because I had 2.5 years sober because I was in prison.
Yeah.
When we met, almost 3.
Yeah.
I think I had just hit 3.
Yeah.
So I was new to it. I was just starting to get confident, comfortable in my own skin, and figuring out who I was sober.
That whole job thing didn't go the way we wanted it to.
I was so frustrated because people didn't want to hire me as a felon.
Yeah.
In an office.
Yeah.
I'm a drug addict, and I can't work in your office. So JB Hunt, BNSF, Trans Place, they all turned me down.
Yeah.
Your job turned me down just because I was dating you.
Yeah.
Which we understood.
Yeah, that's totally okay. I mean,
I decided, you know what? If you don't want to hire me because I'm a felon, I'm going to figure out a way to help felons because fuck that.
Yeah, and you just decided to go back to go to school. I remember that. Yeah, so it definitely threw a major league curveball at us.
And because I was so scared from my first baby,
yeah,
I didn't know what to do. It took me months to realize, like, this is completely different. You get to keep your baby. You get to have all the things you didn't get to have before. It took me months to be okay with that.
I honestly, I got to tell you, and we're sitting here thinking about this, and I don't reflect back on it much. I wasn't really blown away. I kind of had this like overwhelming feeling, and I never really saw myself as a parent, to be honest with you. I was married previously, and she had a child, and I was really in a bad spot, in a bad way in my life, and I wasn't making good decisions with everything. So being married to somebody with a child was also a bad decision at that time.
They didn't know each other for very long either.
We were really, So anyway. I digressed a little bit, but I remember thinking like it wasn't really in my life plans to have children, and I knew that you had Micah, and I was cool with that, accepting of it. I was just kind of figuring out my role there, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, what do we do now? I was like, this will be okay. This will be okay. I mean,
of course. Is it because you saw like that I was good with Micah, so you weren't concerned?
I just had a lot of faith in both of us. I think I had a lot of faith in us. I did. I think at the core, I think we had a really good thing. We were both good people that saw eye to eye on all the real stuff that mattered. You know what I mean? And I guess, really I had a lot of faith in us that we were going to make it work. We were going to make it work no matter what. Now, I think I say that knowing now that I didn't really know what my role was supposed to be or what I was supposed to do.
That's why I was like, aw.
We'll get to this story.
The ignorance
that I've obviously at the time.
This will be fine.
I was like, this will be fine. Little did I know I would be a horrible partner through most of this, and I'll own that 100%. I was not prepared, and I'm that guy. Like, you've got to tell me what to do. You've got to tell me. If you tell me what to do, if you give me a list, I'm great. I can work that list. But if you just think it's going to be implied, I have no idea what to do. And a lot of that was our struggle. I think,
we struggle so hard communicating.
And when you finally figured out, you're like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? I'm like, I don't know what to do. You have to tell me what to do. Like, and she, for a long time, she was like, I think are you fucking me? Like, and you're like, after a while, you're like, he's not. Like, I really have to tell him what to do. If I do, it'll work out.
As far as like my feelings, or how to be a good boyfriend.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I didn't know, and I mean, I say this, my parents' point was, I didn't come from a home where I saw a strong relationship that was based on feelings, love, comforting each other, being there, supportive in that way. I mean, my parents divorced when I was young, and they had a really, a rough, rocky relationship, from what I can remember, and I know for a fact. I mean, it just wasn't good. And that was very, very young. And then my mom married my stepdad, when I was much older, I think a couple years after they divorced, and he was gone. He was an over-the-road driver. He, I think when they first got married, he was only home once a month, and
he still doesn't know my name. He called me Jennifer 2 years ago.
I think he did, yeah. So I just didn't see that kind of, I didn't see that growing up. So I was very unfamiliar with how to behave and what that looked like. I think I'm probably better now.
You're so much better now.
But I'm not really good. I'm the world's most okay boyfriend. So
what are you talking about?
So
you're great.
So go ahead.
I know that when you say things like, you look really pretty today, I love you, I know you mean those things. You don't just say them randomly. So when you say it, it's so heartfelt because I know that you genuinely mean it at that time.
So you're pregnant.
I was pregnant, and
you're uncertain. I think we're going to be okay, naively.
I refused to have a baby shower. And touch the thing. He has to be my assistant over here because there's a lot of equipment going on.
Yep.
REECE's sister had a baby shower for us. I was like, I do not want a baby shower. I don't want it.
I gotta interject before the baby shower. Because were you showing at the baby shower? Did you have a...
Yeah, I was 6 months pregnant.
I remember, because I didn't know how babies work. I know that, I kind of know the...
Where is this going?
I think I know the physiology behind it. I did go to 7th grade health class. But, and Jessica's a smaller, petite girl. And I remember she's like, I'm pregnant. Yeah, a woman. Yeah. And like 7 or 8 weeks have gone by, and I'm like, I think she's lying to me. I was like, I don't see any baby bump at all. I don't even know what's going on.
7 weeks.
Yeah, like I'm like...
It's the size of a lime bean.
Yeah, and then like, it's 8, 9 weeks. I'm like, I was like, is she sure? Like, really sure?
She's fucking sure.
Yeah, so I that's how stupid I am. I had no idea, you know what I mean?
Because of a freaking kidney bean.
Yeah, I have, I'm like, oh, is she really sure she's pregnant? Because I don't see a baby at all. That's what I remember thinking that. I really do. So there for a while, I was like, oh, maybe I'll get out of this whole being a dad thing. Like, well, I mean,
You're so dumb.
Anyway, so yeah, you had the baby shower. I thought that was a good shower.
I was 6 months.
6 months. A lot of my family was pretty much, because, your family's in New York. Yeah. We had a few folks there. It was a good shower. It was a good effort.
I didn't want gifts or anything. I didn't want the attention to be on me. I just wanted to just get this over with. And I'm saying that because of what I went through in my first pregnancy. I didn't enjoy it. I had the worst morning sickness. Couldn't get out of bed without a Sprite. You had to help me with that.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, you're pretty rough. Yeah.
It was the worst. I was throwing up all the time. And of course, my anxiety is like, danger, danger, day. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I throwing up? There's something wrong with the baby. And I
Yeah.
remember crying to my doctor, like saying like, there's something wrong. And that was the first moment where this doctor was like, you have a baby. Don't you understand how it works? And I'm like,
Yeah.
this mother. And I'm like, no. And they started asking me more questions like, where did you give birth? And I'm like, I don't know the name of the hospital. And he's like, was it traumatic? And I'm like, it was very traumatic. He's like, oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
I fired him that day because he was so not understanding what I was trying to tell him, you know?
And to let everybody know where I was during all this, I don't think I went to any of these appointments.
I told him he didn't have to.
Yeah, I didn't go. So I probably missed the ball there. I probably should, even though if you, see, that goes back to
the thing.
Yeah, you told me I didn't have to go, so I'm like, cool, I guess I'm not needed.
I wasn't.
If I would have probably said, you know what, I want to go to a couple of these, it would have gone a long way.
So you went to the sonogram to
Yep.
find out the sex of the baby.
Yep.
And I thought it was a boy.
Oh, yeah. She's like, I'm just carrying this so much different. It's going to be a boy. I just know it. And, you know, at me, I'm still, you know, I'm still lost. My head's in the cloud. I'm like, okay, what? I guess whatever we get, we get. Like it's a scratch off. Like, you know what I mean? However this turns out, you know.
So I'm like, it's a boy.
Yeah.
And
She just was convinced.
we had a girl.
And
So-
yeah. And I remember when the lady was doing the
Do you wanna
thing.
know?
She goes, do you want to know?
I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah, of course. That's why we're here together, right? You know? And she goes, it's going to be a girl right there. And I looked down at your face, and I was like, I wanted to be like, fix your face. Like,
I was like, what?
she
Because I
looked-
was so sure.
She looked up at me like,
Anyway,
yeah.
so Riley was born. It was the most amazing experience ever.
It was good. And I say this, you know, and coming up to this, I was a horrible boyfriend. I wasn't, I mean, I got you the food you wanted. We had lots of hot wings. Jessica,
Didn't help the baby.
who never wanted to eat Mexican food again after that first year we dated because I ate it for like 3 times
And 3 or 4 times a week, you want to go to Mexican restaurants. I love Mexican, so I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
But then I got so tired of it.
Then she realized when she said she loved Mexican, and I said the same thing, it was a completely different deal.
I can't eat it 4 times a week.
But we had burritos and chicken wings, and I got you, you know, I got you whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
I just wasn't very supportive in the feelings and all that stuff. Right at the end of the pregnancy, I took on a promotion. I took on a whole new deal. So I had a lot going on with work, and then, you know, of course I'm really
Numbers in small boxes.
Yeah, I'm really uncertain about, you know, I can see that, you know, she's not lying at this point. There is, in fact, a baby that's about to come at any point in time. And it dawns on me, I don't know what to do. I don't have any idea on what to do.
Like I did.
Like I've got, yeah. And then, you know, I'm looking to you, like, I hope she tells me what to do, you know? So, and we were, it was it was stressful. I think, you know, both of us, you know, because of you in your first time and, you know, it being a traumatic event, me not being very supportive and had a lot of stress at work and didn't know what to do, being unprepared. We did a poor job of communicating with each other, I think.
Sure.
Definitely. So, but anyway, the baby does come, and it was a great time. And I say this because I was super concerned because all the videos that you watch and the people talk about the 12 hours or a day long of a woman being in labor, and the guy has to stand there and he's like, breathe and push and breathe and push, and I've got to be supportive and I've got to be your cheerleader. And I thought, like, I don't know if I can be that guy for like 12 hours. I don't know what to do.
12 hours.
And so Jessica calls. Can I tell the story? Because I thought it was great.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so
I'm just here.
I'm at work, and Jessica, we know that we're getting close, and she goes to her doctor's appointment, and apparently she is in labor when she's at her doctor's appointment, doesn't know it yet. So she sends me a text at about 11:30 and says, it's time. It's time. You got to come down now. So I say, here we go. I'm going. So on the way, I have to stop at the house, don't I?
To get my bag.
To get your bag. And we got to your hospital bag, and I'm so nervous. Like, as I'm getting the bag, I'm like nervous eating ice cream as I'm pacing through the house. I had to stop and get a little ice cream because I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh God, this is the day. What do we do? So I eat some ice cream. I grab the bag, and I get to the hospital, and I lock my keys in the car. And I come in, and you're in the room, ready to go, like they're prepping you up. And then they had that guy that he was the smoothest, most monotone. He was your anesthesiologist.
Can I pause?
Yep.
I was so happy to see you.
Were you?
Because I did this alone before with correctional officers on my side. So when you walked in the room, I lit up. Do you remember how big I was smiling when you walked in?
No, maybe.
I remember specifically. I was so happy that you were here. Like, you came. You came.
He showed up. He didn't bail.
The man I live with, this is his baby. He came.
Yeah.
But I was just so happy that you were there. And the doctor's like, oh, he's got like 4 or 5 hours to get here. And I'm like, he's got 20 fucking minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Like, now. So the anesthesiologist came in to give me my epidural.
Yep. And he was just, what we're going to do is we're going to sit you right up. It's going to be a really smooth process.
I'm like, what is he saying?
He was just barely talking. And
I was like,
we were like, bro, there's about to be a baby in this room. You were way too calm for what's going on. And then I think your epidural went bad the last time, didn't it? They didn't do it. This dude hooked you up good, right?
I felt pain on one side and not the other, which I guess happens a lot.
Yeah.
But he did it so perfectly. I knew when to push. It was a very smooth process.
Yeah, they dropped you back. They had that thing in, and I mean, I left at work at like 11:20, just before 11:30, and stopped, got the bag, had some ice cream, locked my keys in the car, got in, and I'm talking 3 o'clock, we had a baby.
3 o'clock, we had a baby.
We had a baby. I mean, the doctor comes in like with a Diet Mountain Dew, shakes everybody's hand, and is like, let's get ready. He gets down, he's like, "What?" He was a good doctor. I mean, he kind of came in, he's like, everything's going to be cool. We're ready to go.
Yeah, he was so chill.
Yeah, so, I mean, I had a little over the head. I was like, oh boy.
You cut the cord.
I cut the cord, I watched, and you're pushing in there. I was like, that's a head full of hair. Here it comes. And it was.
Yeah. I only pushed like 3 times.
Yeah, and that third time it was like, the doctor's like, here we go. I'm about to turn this baby.
What's super weird is like my stomach went from pregnant to not pregnant instantly. It was crazy. Like, so yeah, that was the highlight of the first year of Riley's life.
Yeah, this was the moment. I remember because I cut the cord and she'd pooed a little something. Something
happened.
Yeah, something had to flush out, and the doctor was about to do all the dirty work and save me the because I'm standing around like I said.
Didn't want to see that.
Oh yeah. I don't know what to do with my hands, like a dumbass. I need instructions. And he was a smooth operator. He goes, "Dad, why don't you go check on your baby?" So I was like, okay, that's what I do. You know what I mean? So I walked over. It's my job. So I went over in there, cleaned her up. And I did pretty good through most of this thing. The only time I got a little teary is they finally got her cleaned up, and she kind of cried a little bit, and I got her, breathing a little bit. There was something stuck in her. Liquids. So they're like, it's totally cool. I'm like, are you sure? So it was pretty quick. And then some little nurse who was helping him said, "Happy birthday, Riley." And I was just like, oh, it's real. I have a baby.
Yeah.
I named this baby. It's her birthday. It is so. And then they wrapped her up like a tortilla pretty quick and had her to you.
Well, they cleaned her off, and we did skin to skin for a while, and they were like, you're hogging her.
Oh,
after a while.
No, it had been a while.
I was in complete euphoria.
You did the skin to skin, and she was already
looking for a baby.
She was looking for a boob pretty quick.
So
pretty
amazing.
Quick. But you've been holding her for a while, and then
I forgot you were there. I forgot he was there.
So I was sitting there, and they wrapped her up, and then after a little bit, I didn't know what to do. And then I finally worked up enough courage. I said, "You're hogging that baby. Can I hold my baby, please?" I'm not really sure that I know I'm supposed to hold my baby on baby day, And so you kind of gave it to me. I was like, all right.
I completely forgot that he was there. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God.
You let me hold her for a little bit, and then you wanted her back. So, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that first 24 hours, and they kept popping in and out. And they let us go. I was like, are you sure?
Shut up.
You're just going to send us home with this baby? We don't know what to do.
Yeah. Clueless.
Yeah, that was the best day of the first year right there.
It was an amazing experience. Yeah. And, in true Jess form, as soon as the the chaos calmed down, I was like, get me a freaking cheeseburger now.
Yeah, I went to Red Robin or something, didn't I? Yeah.
So we get her home, and the first 2 weeks is amazing because newborns just sleep all the time. That's the easiest time ever. And
oh yeah, I was sleep. There's no smell in the poo. I took that week off, but I wasn't really off. I worked. So
she sleeps on your chest. Yep. Micah was getting used to her. It was an amazing 2 weeks. And then the crying began.
Yes.
And it didn't stop. She's 4 and she still cries constantly.
Yes, it began.
So she was colic.
Oh yeah.
And when I say she cried all the time, I mean she literally was if she was not sleeping or eating, she was screaming. Mm-hmm. And you were looking to me because I had a kid already, but I didn't have a baby.
Again, I'm the guy in the room. What's my job? Yeah. And I was gone all day, stressful, still at work.
I was a student.
Yeah.
With very little time off as well.
Yeah.
And I was so depressed. So I had postpartum depression to the point where that was the only time in my sobriety that I remember desperately wanting to go score. some dope because I was so fucking miserable.
See, I didn't know that.
I wasn't sleeping. I was barely eating because this baby was screaming. You know, Micah was 4 and Riley was a newborn. She was so used to having 100% of my attention, and she was getting very little at this point.
So she went from screaming. She went from everything to almost nothing.
Yeah, and of course now I feel bad because I can't give Micah the same amount of attention, and I feel bad I'm not sleeping. We're jumping over couches to get a bottle so this baby stops crying, and I was pumping and giving her a bottle.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't pumping, I had a screaming baby, I wasn't sleeping. Even when she would fall asleep, I'd watch her because I'm like, oh my God, what if she, what if something happens in her sleep? I was a constant source of tension and stress.
Just couldn't put her down either. People people just
put her down.
Just put her down. Like, it'll sleep. You couldn't. If you laid her down,
she'd wake up.
She would just cry.
And she'd cry and cry and cry and cry. And as a psychology major, I'm like, it's not healthy for them just to scream for hours. Like, I knew that it wasn't healthy. Yes, I understood like baby or children should learn how to self-soothe. This was beyond that. She was colic and the screaming would not stop. And finally, about a month out, I finally just broke down and I told the doctor, like, something is wrong. This baby will not stop crying. I don't know what to do. And they tested and they figured out that she had acid reflux. Mm-hmm. And I completely changed my diet because I immediately thought it was my fault, even though I wasn't eating spicy food after she was born.
Yeah.
But I completely changed my diet just to keep it, I was eating a lot of oatmeal and things that were not spicy, things to increase milk supply. And,
and she just wouldn't sleep during the night and she cried. I mean, once they got that, because, she wouldn't lay flat on her back. And you could prop her up and hold her and rock her.
Had her in the baby backpack constantly.
Yeah, you had to be moving. We would just, pace, walking around the house, just take turns holding her so she would calm down. So, she would calm down a little bit. After they got that acid reflux and they gave us the little dropper, she was a little better. She got constipated there for a little bit. We had to give her the old...
It was a couple weeks of relief.
Yeah.
Like, this is a different baby.
Yeah, she
did.
So
I got some sleep.
We did notice a pretty big turnaround once the medicine kicked in. Yeah.
Then she started teething.
Yeah. And then that started. So
screaming and screaming and screaming and screaming. And that was the hardest year ever. And on Riley's first birthday, we broke up.
Did we?
Because we just couldn't handle the stress anymore and we didn't know what to do and we were both miserable.
And I remember I came home when I finally broke. I told you, didn't I?
Yeah.
That I was miserable.
Tell everyone what you said to me.
What did I say?
Go ahead.
I'm trying to remember.
Don't worry, I remember what you said 5 years ago.
I bet you do.
It was on a Tuesday, and the time was 4:58.
I think we were late. I remember we were laying in bed, and we'd been quiet. We were tense every day, all day, anyway. And I think it'd come to a head, and I just told you, I said, I'm miserable. I'm miserable. Every day I come home, I do not look forward to it, and every day seems like it's worse.
Get over it.
Yeah, I just did not. I just was...
At least you get to leave. You go to your job all day. God. She pooped in my face one day. Mm-hmm. Well, you were at your job.
Yeah, it was just not a good time at all.
It was so hard. So just how I got over the postpartum depression is I finally opened up to REECE. And I finally told him, like, I cannot do this. Yeah. I need help. I need something because I am absolutely miserable. There was one time I remember you went to a restaurant with Riley. It was your first outing alone as a dad.
Yeah, I went with my dad, my sister, and her then husband, and then I'm trying to think, was my other sister. I think my other sister was there too, my younger sister. So yeah.
And I was so relieved to just have a minute to myself, and I was alone. And
I felt like, sure, this will be all right. We made some pretty bad mistakes with this baby too. We never took her.
Never took her out. Wouldn't run a vacuum with her. As a newborn.
Every time she'd sleep, we were like, don't make any noise. We never took her anywhere. We never took her on a stroller. So every time she went somewhere, she would lose it.
Because we were afraid that she would cry, but let me tell you something right now. Take those babies out. Yes. Run the vacuum.
Yes.
And also, I thought for me a break was taking a shower.
Yeah.
Cleaning the house by myself was a break. These are normal things. Moms, a shower is not a break. Ask for a break. Ask for help. Have somebody, watch the baby. Go out with the baby. Who cares if they cry? Get out of the house, And for me, I was just so, I felt trapped. I felt like I couldn't leave. I couldn't do anything because this baby screams constantly. Like,
we probably should have utilized my family a little bit more. Probably should have communicated with me a little bit more. Like, hey, I don't think, if you'd just been like, hey, I need you to come home and watch this baby for a couple hours while I just drive around and do something. Go get a Starbucks.
I was afraid to leave her. Again, because of the trauma that I endured with Micah, I was afraid to leave.
Yeah.
With a crying baby or not. I was just so scared. And then it was so tiresome to pack up for a baby and a 4-year-old that by the time I got everyone ready anyway, I'm freaking exhausted.
Yeah. So, It was tough. It was a tough first year. I mean, it was challenging. It was challenging. Looking back on it now, I'm like, how did we make it?
I have no idea.
How did we make it?
But over the years, just to kind of close out here, we've learned how to communicate better. Now I tell Reese, like, what you said hurt my feelings. I know you probably didn't mean it that way, but this is how I feel. And you've responded to that a lot better than me saying, like, you're such an asshole.
Yeah. And acknowledging, I mean, I know how I am. I've gotten a lot better, I think.
Prickly and cold.
I'm prickly and cold. If we have an argument, I always want to be the last one to speak, and I always want to be the winner. And I understand that there doesn't have to be a winner. We can both win. And I got to be careful with what I say, because sometimes, like I said, I used to say what you said made me feel this way. I didn't mean to make you feel that way.
Yeah.
That was not my intent. And I think
I used to think it was.
We've gotten better with you saying what you said made me feel like this. And then I've gotten better with, that's not exactly what I meant. I did not mean, that was not my intent to make you feel that way. And we've been able to work through that. We had to get better at communicating if we were going to make it. Yep. If we were going to make it, we had to get better at communicating. And we had to really have a better understanding of what the other person was going through, being able to communicate that with the other, with our respective partner, and in a clear, concise manner, and be willing to, sometimes, so cute, sometimes, I'm not a very good listener either. I'm pretty selfish. I know it. And for the longest time, you used to always give me crap that it was just all about me and all about my job. And I was. I want
to add to that.
Yeah.
So to be fair, like, you took on a lot of responsibility, and I was a student and a mom. What am I going to talk about?
Yeah.
The kids took a Sharpie to the wall today.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about your day. I knew that you had so much more going on than I did, but at some point, like, it had been a long time, and this builds up, right?
Yeah.
There had been a long time where you didn't even ask me, like, are you okay? How
are
you feeling? How are you doing? I felt like it was so one-sided, and I didn't want a one-sided relationship. And I was bad at communicating how I felt, and it just came out aggressive.
We both would reach a level of hostility in the way we communicate very, very quickly.
Neither one of us have passive personalities either.
No.
We're both a little aggressive.
Yeah. Both of us were justified in the way we behaved. I think we meant well.
Our feelings were valid.
Feelings were valid. We just didn't know how to come together and in an open agreement and figure out a way to work and navigate through these life problems that I think otherwise, I can see how people break up. I can see how people don't make it. And we always, fortunately, we've always done well on if I don't know if we can talk about this. If we would have been worried about the rent and money, we always did pretty well. We didn't live beyond our means. We had saved and kind of incrementally moved up. We weren't sweating the bills. We weren't rich, but we knew we could afford food and the rent. And I
think that just came from, we're really good savers.
Yes.
Because we lived in excess for so long.
Yes.
That we save.
And we both had nothing when we met. And we just were like, we want to save every dollar we have to make sure that we don't ever feel like there's nothing again.
He's mentioning that because in his previous relationship, he stressed that the monthlies constantly.
Yeah.
That drove a wedge between him and his ex.
Yeah. And I had a lot of money. I had a lot of nice things, but I didn't have a dollar to my name. I was just
2 BMWs.
Yeah.
Beautiful
just,
house,
I had an entire extra wallet, with credit cards in it. I was just, I was stretched thin. I was always trying to find a way to make more money so I could spend more money. And so if we'd have had that on top of it, I could see how the stress would have just boiled over. But I can see certainly how people don't make it. I mean, with it's tough.
Just life stress in general.
It's tough.
And if you're worried about money too.
And I was always, I knew that you were a student and you had 2 kids. I knew you didn't have a thing. Like my going to the gym, it's kind of, I had an outlet. I have a thing, you know what I mean? And I desperately wanted you to have a thing, but I didn't know what that thing was.
I didn't know what that thing was either. And, you supported me while I was figuring out that thing. Being a full-time student with a newborn baby was so hard. I had Riley strapped to my chest on one of those little baby backpacks, front backs, I guess.
Baby Bjorn or whatever.
Yeah. And I would be typing a paper at the table with a sleeping baby on my chest and a 4-year-old asking me, can we play Play-Doh? And as much as I want to play Play-Doh, I can't. So there was so much where I had to be like, Micah, I can't play right now. Either because Riley's screaming or crying, or I have a paper that I have to hand in and deadlines. And that was the most stressful time of my life.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I'm glad that you have a thing now. You have something that you're passionate about. You finished with school, which I'm really proud of you for doing that. That was a monumental task.
Just for those of you that don't know, I have my bachelor's degree in correctional program support services with a minor in psychology.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know what I mean? And especially with everything you had to do to accomplish that was still in your way, that was on your plate. But it was tough. The only thing I can say to people that are struggling, you've got to find a way to communicate. You know, those people that go to counseling and stuff, I think that's the only reason people go, is for somebody to help them find a way to communicate, because some people just aren't good enough at it to get there on their own. But I can certainly tell you, if we wouldn't have found a way to do it, we'd have been trouble. We probably wouldn't have been here. I can tell you that. Co-parenting. Be co-parenting. That's right.
Normalize moms taking breaks. If you see a mom somewhere with her kids, don't fucking ask her where the kids are. Not here. Okay? Yeah. If you see a mom post a 15-second video on TikTok, don't ask her where her kids are. It's 15 seconds long. Shut up. Like, stop doing that. Who's got the kids? It's none of your business. So normalize moms taking breaks. Stop asking moms every single time you see them trying to be themselves outside of motherhood. Stop asking them what they're doing or how come they're not with their kids. Like, I think we have so much mom shame around us at all times that it's so difficult for us to just let our hair down. You know what I mean? Like, I'm leaving. Have fun. And REECE does not babysit. He is not a babysitter. He is a father. So when I leave, it's not nice of REECE to watch our children because he's their father. You know what I mean?
I remember trying to tell you, like, I can handle it. I can handle it.
It was a long time.
And there's a few times you left and you'd be back in like 25 minutes. I'm like, you can leave for longer.
Oh, I was so scared to leave.
You just, yeah, it was tough. It was tough. And I think that, you know, the biggest thing for you was learning
how to be a mom.
Yeah. And learning that it was okay for you to want to be okay. Like, you know, you just put a lot of internal pressure on yourself, and you know, you're always constantly which is great. You hold yourself to a higher standard, and you know, you're always trying to be your best at everything you do, which is awesome.
It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to need help. It's okay to ask for help and support.
You know, you're going to get a few things wrong. Yeah, whatever. You know, our baby ate a dead frog at the beach when we went to Florida the first time. It just happens. You know what I mean? Like, you know, whatever, you know, so.
Things I wish REECE shielded me from, part one.
Yeah, so.
Baby picked up a frog.
Yeah, that was the first time she fell off the bed, too.
Oh, God, and she fell off
the bed. We'd done really good. Then we had her in that bedroom, and we heard,
in Destin on vacation.
In Destin, yeah. And we were like.
Pause.
Here. Yeah.
And of course, I freaking took off down the hallway and picked her up, and I felt so bad.
Yeah, but she's fine now.
They're tough.
Yeah, they're good. They're durable. I know the struggle's real. We evaluated our relationship and where we're at in the last year or couple years. You think we've really been we've hit our stride. We've been really good.
I think it's like the last couple of years. And a part of that is because I looked to REECE as my source of happiness when that was so unfair to him. I have found happiness in my own life, and we have two completely different lives, but we meet in the middle because we love each other.
And we're working on the same common goal. You know, we want that.
What's that?
You know,
the common goal?
We want to rule the world. I mean, come on. Yeah.
No, but like I really looked to him for happiness instead of being happy with myself and my own life and my own goals. And that was a huge life lesson for me.
I could feel that happening, and I just didn't know what to say or how to communicate that. Like, you just cannot do this to me. Like, I know what's going on here.
He'd come home and I'd be like, hi, how was your day? How was your day, REECE? Tell me about it.
It wasn't healthy, you know, but I just didn't know how to help her, and I sure didn't know how to say that, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it's great. It's awesome. I like where we're at. I think the last year we've really hit a good stride. We struggled. We had I won't say it was struggle. We got a little rocky when we had to move up here. We kind of upended our whole world moving up here to the Chicagoland. And, you know, it wasn't really on Jessica's to-do list. I kind of threw that boomerang at her.
Well, now I have to tell everyone what you're talking about. I knew a promotion was coming for REECE. He'd been traveling a lot, and my gut just told me, like, we're going to have to move because, you know, the company that he's at has several other offices throughout the country, and we were in Northwest Arkansas, and I was happy. We had a cute house in a cul-de-sac.
We'd finally gotten to that comfort zone. We were coasting. Finally. Yeah. And Riley, stop crying. Yeah.
I was thinking about doing YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought about it for probably a year before I actually did it, maybe almost 2 years actually. And I thought about it and I thought about it and I thought about it. And then REECE has this big promotion that's coming up, and, you know, I'm still in school. We had his family right there, and it was just, I was like, oh, things are finally good, right? But I felt like this was coming. So REECE comes home one night from Texas.
Yeah, I'd been in Texas for a week, hadn't I? Yeah, because it was like my third time down there in like the past. Because you went one time with me.
I went with you.
Yeah.
And he comes home, and I've got this whole date night chocolate covered strawberries.
Oh, you did. I remember that.
Me, you know.
Yeah.
A whole date night planned. I put the kids to bed so that when we came home, it was just our little date night dinner and everything. And I could see it on your face the second I looked at you. And I'm like, if it's fucking Texas, Reese, like, you just have fun with that.
I think I told you, I said, do you want to talk about it before?
So yeah, I wanted to talk about it before.
And I hit you with it. And at least it wasn't Texas, but you know, we knew
we're Chicago. And now I have flashbacks of scoring dope on the south side of Chicago every time I came through here. I came through Chicago a lot. And I have a lot of bad memories from living in this area. I didn't live here. I traveled the country. And I always came through Chicago. I would even reroute bus tickets to come back through.
Is it because you can hold your hand up and wait and the sack of dope will drop in it?
Basically. Walking around, oh shit, I just got hit with heroin.
Whoa.
No, I'm kidding. I love Chicago.
Yes.
Please don't touch it. I love it here, but now my memories are so much more positive because I'm not running around trying to find drugs.
Yeah.
My memories are great. I love Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I hit you with it, and we had like 3 or 4 weeks to move.
Oh, yeah. So not only do I have to move a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with animals and children, and you're a student, you have to do it in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like,
It was 4, but one of the weeks I was gone because I had to come up here. To look for a place to live, kind of see the office that I was taking over. Needless to say, it was a pull. It was a pull. We loaded up the biggest U-Haul you could get, pulled your car behind on a tower. You followed me in my Tahoe. With everything we owned. And we came up here, and I remember thinking, like, and you know, this is a bigger area, and I just had to find something quick. And I thought I was so proud of myself. I thought I'd gotten a little townhome, you know, and you know, obviously
it was very small.
It was. And, you know, we had a 3-bedroom house in a cul-de-sac with a yard than there in Arkansas. And, you know, we got a whole lot less for a whole lot more money up here. Yeah. But, you know, moving up here was a chance to help advance my career. And we knew we knew it was going to be a good thing. And, but we loaded up here, and I remember thinking I'd done so well. And about 10 minutes out, you know, on the GPS, I thought, I didn't do that good. She's not really going to like what I picked. She's going to hate it. And I remember that hitting me. I'm like, I just didn't have any time. I didn't know where to look. You know what I mean? And we were cramped into that townhome in a new area. After we got
here, we drove around. We're like, oh my God, there's so many other places.
There's so many places we could have picked. Yeah, I didn't know. It met the price range and the time, you know, and obviously, again, back to money. I wanted to make sure that we were comfortable, and we were moving. You know, I got paid a little more to move up here, but everything cost a little more. So we were super hesitant to get out in front of our skis, you know. So we played it safe, you know, dealt with
snowboarders, first of all.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, we lived in that little townhome, you know, for 1.5 years, and it was that first 6 months. And again, with, you know, I had a new promotion. Work was really stressful. You know, I didn't inherit an easy job coming up here. You know, I had some good folks, but you know, I inherited an office that was kind of in limbo.
You had some good what?
I had some good people.
What'd you say?
I can't remember.
Folks.
Some good folks. I had some good folks. I had
folks.
Some folks. Yeah, but I mean, I had to retool.
Wait, say oil.
Oil.
No.
Oil.
Say oil. Yeah.
Oil.
Say
oil and water.
Say attorney, but the other word.
Lawyer. Oh yeah, this is good. But yeah, so I had a lot of stress, and Jessica was in a new area. You know, Micah was starting a new school. We were in a lot less space, you know, in a little townhome community where, you know, if you're watching, you know, the HOA guy, yeah, we remember you. Yeah, we remember how tough you made that first year on us. Yeah,
he was looking in our garage. He's like, your garage is too dirty.
We put a satellite up. Yeah. It was tough, but anyway, so we drudged through that. We got up here in that first 6 months was a little choppy. So I'd have to say you're right. The last year has been we've really hit our stride really well. Oh gosh, I don't know if we can do it again. I tell you what, there would have to be a lot of money attached to a move.
You're pretty loyal to your company. I don't even think you would. But anyway,
no, even if they wanted me to move and they're like, hey, you know, we'd like you to relocate, I'd be like, you better get your wallet out. I mean,
my girlfriend's going to want to be compensated also. We need movers, trucks.
Yeah, we did that. We did that thing on our own. We brought the biggest U-Haul possible, and it came down to it. And
I drove it really good.
I drove it. Yeah, I mean, that was like driving a semi-trailer up here. And it got down. We had to get to the nitty-gritty at the end there. It was like, you know, I had to make a decision which was coming, the treadmill or my grill. The treadmill made it. The grill stayed in Arkansas.
Of course you picked the treadmill.
Yeah, but we've always pushed the boundaries. We've always been okay with not being comfortable.
Yes.
We've become comfortable with becoming uncomfortable, and it's allowed us to take smart, calculated risks. And that's why our life, I think, continues to get better.
I do a back to basics thing on YouTube, you know, back to basics. Let's go. And I push myself all the time. I'm writing an autobiography now, and I've got another project that I still have not released because it's just difficult. But the podcast and the second channel, and I'm very ambitious, and so is Reese.
Yeah. You know, I think we feed off that in each other.
Yeah.
And to give advice to anybody, you have to be relentless. You have to be relentless. And you know, things are going to be tough. Things are going to happen, and they're unfair. Tough, you know, you just got to deal with that stuff. You got to find a way to get it done. And I think we have always come together, you know, even when it got challenging, and found a way to work through it. And I think that builds a lot of strong foundation in a relationship. And it's probably why we feel the same way we do now about each other. I think we're probably closer now. We communicate better. We love each other more. We understand each other more in the present time than we have the entire time we've been together, because we found a way to get through those challenges. So
in closing, I'm going to say my favorite quote of all time.
Oh, yes.
You kind of led me there.
Oh, you are? Okay.
It's great to be loved, but it's profound to be understood. And that's what I have in you. I'm understood. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jessica Camp podcast, or the YouTube channel, wherever you're listening,
wherever you're catching this.
Yes,
yep.
Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you in the next one. As always,
stay safe, stay sober.
Whatever that looks like to you.
Whatever that looks like to you.
Every path is different, and no path is above the other. And I'll see you in the next one. You were gonna say something else. Just say it.
No.
Were you gonna make fun of me?
No, I wasn't. Get some.